He goes, "Oh, you should totally tweet this as your AI daughter." And then I tweeted it. People are all of a sudden they're like, "Jordi, this is unacceptable." And I'm like, "No, it's your fucked up mind making this unacceptable."
Welcome back to RealTime. I'm Gage.
I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kwebbelkop.
Welcome to the show, Jordi. Welcome back. How's it going?
Yeah, no, it's going good. Busy like crazy, but having a lot of fun. So I couldn't wish for anything else.
The last time you were on the show was 2021, and you were promoting your project Launch My NFT. Real quick, what happened to that? Are you still in the NFTs?
I'm certainly still in the NFTs. However, when running the company, I founded it with two other co-founders. I decided to step back a little. It started as a little hobby project and got really out of hand. So I pretty much sold my shares to my other co-founder. And as far as I know, like, I'm really not up to date with whatever's happening there. I think this was a year and a half ago.
Yep.
But I sometimes check in on the website. Things still seem to be rolling. I sometimes check the blockchain to see if they're still making sales, and sales are still moving. So yeah, that's that. I decided to focus more on what I'm known for, aka social media stuff and video games.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Hey, so back in August, you posted a Minecraft video on YouTube introducing your new AI animated character. What gave you the initial idea to create that, and what made you interested in artificial intelligence?
Yeah, it's actually a really long story that goes back a few years. Imagine this, 5 years ago, I'm in my bedroom, I'm making YouTube videos, and I'm on top of my game, right? I'm making multiple videos a day, I'm streaming, I have brand deals, I'm flying all over the world, and it's great. And I'm making a lot of money here. However, there's one thing that I didn't have, and that was rest, relaxation, time to take care of myself. I simply couldn't hold it any longer. I'd been doing it for years, and for my bank account, it was great, but for my physical health and my mental health, it certainly wasn't. So I started to think, like, there has to be a way to solve this. There has to be a way. Like, it is, you're not going to tell me that this is how it's going to end, right? This is how, everyone just accepts a YouTuber career ending after, let's say, 10 years of running it or 5 years of running it. So we started looking at options to solve it. And one was to have multiple hosts that we could switch out. We tried that, but eventually the host would start to have the exact same challenge. And then we stumbled upon VTubers, and we thought, well, if the brand doesn't have a person there, and it's more of a virtual persona, then we could possibly swap out the hosts and like slowly move out teammates and things like that. And that's what we started doing, and that's really what you saw with Kwebbelkop AI. It was me announcing that I turned into a VTuber. But here's the crazy thing: to have all these VTuber things work, you need a lot of these fairly interesting AI algorithms and systems, track your face and change your voice. We realized that, being a YouTuber is much more than just being on camera. There's also a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. I mean, we do this recording, and then after that, there's so much more. Let's not forget the fact that you had to organize this recording too, right?
Yeah.
So you have all these caps on, and I pretty much just said, okay, well, can we automate this entire process to the point where there's so little friction that it doesn't become a challenge of how can you manage your time, but the skills move more towards how good is your imagination.
Yeah.
And that's really what Kwebbelkop AI is, and that's what we started off with back in August.
Wow. So how much human interaction goes on with making the videos? Does the AI make the thumbnail, upload it, and everything for you, or did you have to?
Do you want to know? Because there's so many misconceptions here. I always say there's this slider, right? So on one end of the slider, everything's done manually. And in all honesty, it's nearly impossible to get to this point, right? If you go farther left, it's analog. Like rather than editing digitally, it's just, you're cutting the film roll. But I would call that 0% AI, where no AI is involved in the production process. I would say with Kwebbelkop AI, I like to place the slider at around 75%. This means that the avatar you see is AI. That's not me. The voice you hear is it's converted from a real human's voice to my voice, and that is the AI solution right there. Right? Then in the thumbnails, the majority of the assets are AI generated too. Okay. So this is kind of where we are right now. Everything else, it's just, movie magic to make it seem like it is an AI, and we kind of like going with that flow too. Then here's the absolute crazy thing. Behind closed doors, or if you join the Discord server, we have 100% AI solutions. And this means that I call it 100% AI, but once again, it's not a big misconception. It's not like launch AI and it just goes and produces. You still need to give it like creative input. So for example, I can say, hey, generate a clip of, I can pull it up on my phone, and then you get a better idea of it. So we have like a clip generator is what we call it. So every film is made up out of a bunch of scenes. And then here someone goes, a clip about a spaceship. Let's see if you can see this. So it's just a spaceship flying, right?
And
it generates the spaceship flying. Then we have another tool that just does the whole video for you. So make me a 30-second fun fact about spaceships. And then it does the whole thing, including editing, including voiceover, including putting everything together. And that's what I like to call like 100% AI, because in the production process, a human is not involved. It's only a human is only needed for conceptualization of the idea and for quality assurance of the idea.
Now, the Blue channel, like, wasn't that AI? Was that sort of like the first?
Yeah. So I always called Blue AI powered, meaning we use AI tools for, let's say, script writing, for thumbnail ideation, for video ideas, for thumbnail creation, and things like that. Fun fact, though, was that I promoted Blue as a VTuber, and then a lot of people came up to me and go, "It's crazy that Blue is entirely AI." And this was, I think, a year ago at VidSummit. I just started writing down. I'm like, this is actually a really good one. This is a really good idea. Maybe we should play more on that. And that's what we've been doing more recently.
Now, were you expecting all the backlash you kind of got with announcing Kwebbelkop AI V1? I mean, because there were a lot of people that were kind of mad. I don't know why.
Yeah, do you want to have a clear, like, hey, here's Jordi being honest?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I look at the stats, I looked at the channel, and I thought, whoa, okay, well, views are at an all-time low. It makes sense because I haven't been posting. The channel's been dormant. I've been doing other things. And then I genuinely thought, I'm just gonna post a video, no one's gonna notice. It's just gonna move on, and we're gonna be able to slowly learn from the data and improve everything. And then it just blew up, right? It was absolutely astronomical. Another fun thing, and this is what a lot of people don't see, there's this vocal minority which is really pushing the narrative of this being, absolutely disgusting and things like that. But then in private, as far as I know, there's a lot of people reaching out saying, like, this is actually really cool. I see where this is heading. I mean, the fact that I don't think, there has been like one podcast where someone is being critical about it, which should be coming out in a few weeks. But besides that, every person I've spoken to, every person that has interviewed me has been very understanding of the technology and where things are heading. And I think that's really where the space is going, right? Yeah, you're allowed to be critical on it, and the quality is certainly not perfect, but I'm 100% convinced that this simply is the future, period.
Wired and Business Insider both made massive articles on Kwebbelkop AI version 1. How did that feel to have your creation talked about in these major publications?
Super cool. Yeah, I had someone from Wired. He was in my DMs for quite a while, and I mentioned something on Twitter. Like, my Twitter is just a mess, right? But I like to just tweet whatever I'm thinking. And he mentioned, hey, whenever you're going to be launching Kwebbelkop AI and cloning yourself, let me know. And then I tweeted it, and boom, person's in the DMs. And we just started talking, and I was just sharing the vision. I, in all honesty, I look at Wired, right? I'm Dutch. Wired is not really a big news outlet, well-known news outlet here. And publication published it, and I had people reach out where I was like, yo, okay, holy, that's crazy. I had no idea those people read Wired. So that was really cool. And then Business Insider I had worked with in the past, but Wired was certainly one that I afterwards realized, okay, this is actually, like a major player. In all honesty, I felt super honored to have that opportunity, and super thankful. To be basic.
That's cool.
With a lot of the platforms, social platforms, kind of pushing back on like AI, user generated, this kind of content. How profitable do you think AI content will be over time?
Yeah, I would love to dismiss that. That's it's a myth going around that platforms are against AI generated content, to the point where I have had platforms reach out to me and go, "Hey, just to clarify, we are not in any capacity against AI generated content, and we're not even in you can quote me on this. We're not even against a fully autonomous channel."
Really?
Okay, meaning conceptualization of the idea does software. Software generates the video, and software posts the video, then analyzes it and conceptualizes again, and to create this self-learning infinite channel loop. So there is nothing in terms of service on, as far as I know, the platforms that I've researched, which are the major ones, that prohibit users from doing this and that prohibit users from monetizing this. And on top of that, we have multiple channels and hundreds, if not thousands, of videos online that are AI generated content. We've not received a single takedown, and we've never had any issue with monetization on these pages. So that's a myth, and that myth, it needs to get out of here. Get it out of here.
Get out of here.
Get it out of here.
And I'll happily, there's plenty of evidence that I've made public too that shows and supports this. It's just a matter of, and this is the important thing, is the content fun for real humans? Okay, will they want to watch the content? Is it high quality content and not spam? Spam is not allowed. Doesn't matter if it's AI or human made. It's all about, does this add value to the viewer, right? And that's it, period. Doesn't matter how it's made. That's it.
Is this all your proprietary technology? Are you working on new, are you building this? Are you working off from OpenAI? Like how is this set up? If you don't mind me asking.
I can't go too much into detail on the exact solutions and architectures and all those different things that we use. And in all honesty, I'm also not the number one technical guy working on this, but we try to have everything running on our own GPUs for various reasons. And occasionally, when applicable, we will use a third-party application. But for the majority, I would say 95% of our software, if not more, it is all our own custom code that we've been working on, or that we have licenses to running on our local machines.
How big has your company grown? Like, how many team members do you have actually working on AI?
Yeah, we have about a dev team of about 10 people who are dedicated on this. And I am pushing for the new trend where it's a flex to have a really solid company with little employees, right? My company is still at around 60 employees, and I don't want to get more than this. This is already good enough, fun to manage. So we're not looking to expand aggressively. We're just looking to stay lean and lean, mean machine.
Are you mainly funding this, or do you have major investors? Or
no investors. There's not a single investor touching this.
Wow.
I have had a solid amount of requests and suggestions from people who are willing to help and get me in contact with VCs and things like that. But I think for me, it is very important for the vision to stay here. Plus, I don't want to be clouded by investors and investor meetings. Rather, I want to hyper focus on pushing this agenda, which I'm clearly pushing, meaning, AI influencers or generative AI influencers or generative AI entertainment really is the future. I don't think I could go on these funny Twitter sprees if I actually had to please investors, and we don't have to. I've a company that does good yearly numbers, and I'm able to dedicate some of that budget to these type of projects.
Your tweets are kind of interesting. How's your AI family doing?
Yeah, that was a joke blown out of proportion. That was hilarious. I tweeted like I meet my AI girlfriend because I was testing out our tool, right?
Yeah.
And I just thought, hey, girlfriend, or one funny one was like a model smiling. I just typed. I was like, okay, this actually looks pretty decent. How funny would this tweet be? And I'm like chuckling while I'm typing out the tweet, and then it blew completely out of proportion. Like everyone's genuinely dead serious on me having an AI girlfriend, and then because there was a double whammy here, like I doubled down. I'm at Vid Summit and I'm showing a YouTuber, and I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to, no hate towards him, but super well known YouTuber, and I'm showing him the tool. I'm going like, hey, yeah, because we're talking about the AI girlfriend tweet. Like, it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, all I did was I typed girl smiling, but I didn't type girl smiling. I typed woman smiling.
Yeah.
But when I typed girl smiling, it showed a girl, like a little girl. And then he goes, oh, you should totally tweet this as your AI daughter.
Oh.
And then I tweeted it. And that was like, people are all of a sudden they're like, Jordi, this is unacceptable. And I'm like, no, it's your fucked up mind making this unacceptable. This is just a tweet. This is just an image of a girl smiling. You're like, you should see our red teaming to make sure that no one abuses these systems. Like that's cancel worthy, right?
Yes.
But yeah, like no, like it's a joke. And then I was like, okay, let's double down. Let's go on a date. Let's get AI family. Let's get AI dogs, AI grandparents.
That's awesome.
But it shows the extent to which, all of a sudden I'm able to tell these stories of Kwebbelkop with an AI. What can we do? All right, we can just get people rallied up, get them feeling something about whatever. And I'm just laughing my ass off here. I think it's hilarious. I'm having a blast.
It's funny how worked up people get over this. Like, it's cool
for
technology.
What reason? Yeah, for what reason, right? But I think the majority of the people out there getting getting a little bit crazy about it are also going along with it. It's super easy impressions for them. It's super easy engagement and support to be against this type of technology. And then it's funny because there's some well-known people who do this, and then in the DMs they're like, yo, what you're working on is absolutely phenomenal. Like
they're just doing it for the views.
They're doing it for the views, and I don't blame them, right? This is the game. This is how it works. I mean, I've been part of this content creation stuff for years now. I get it, right? Respect the hustle. You got to pay your bills too, and no hard feelings, right? As long as we keep it professional, we're all good.
You've definitely seen this, but speaking of kind of the hate on it, Moist Critical on stream, reacting to your AI character, said, you're just doing this for easy money. I mean, how would you respond to Critical? I mean, you're not doing this for easy money, are you?
Yeah. So first of all, props to Moist Critical. I think he's a phenomenal content creator. Very, has been on top of his game for many years. And I think he always has some interesting takes. If I would have to defend myself that I'm only doing it for the money, I mean, if I'll happily share you the books. Like, it's not profitable in any way, this project so far. It's only been me investing a very, 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 very large amount of money. We're talking, rather than buying Lamborghinis or if not Bugattis, I decided to do this. So that's the first thing. And then, I mean, am I only doing it for the money, or am I having a blast? Like, I'm retired. I have more than enough money. I don't ever have to work a day in my life ever again. I made enough money with my investments in the past, and my company is I'm always trying to play it break even. So I pay myself a salary and that's it, and then the rest of the money goes back into this. So I hope that shines a little bit of light on me not specifically only doing it for the money. Like, I'm deeply passionate about it, but do know, like, I do have a company, and in a way am like, this can certainly be me being like unaware of the way that this technology is steering me towards making it profitable, right? Like, yeah, the company needs to be profitable at one point. But to say this right now, I think is a little bit too early. Like, come back 3, 4, 5 years, and maybe then you can say that I'm only doing it for the money. Also, then I would have probably gotten investors in, got the valuation up really high. And then all of a sudden I'm worth like 100, 200, $300 million, right? And then I, sure. Then I'm doing it for that, Forbes article. But I don't have any interest in that.
It's safe to say Critical did not ruin your career. You're still trucking along.
No, I don't think any commentary YouTuber could ruin anyone's career. I think at the end of the day, they first of all do it themselves, and second of all, like, feel free to disagree with my vision, but that's not what I'm doing it for, right? I'm not doing it for anyone's opinion. I'm doing it because I have this vision, and the team here and the company here, we have this vision, and we're building towards a future where this vision can flourish.
Your friends Jelly and Slogoman have spoken out about Kwebbelkop AI, with Jelly even posting a full-length video on the topic on his second channel. Are they for this idea? Are they against the idea? Do you really know?
I don't know specifically about Jelly. I haven't spoken to him in quite a while. I've spoken to Slogo recently, and he's supportive towards me, but I don't know his exact stance. You'd have to ask them both. But yeah, no, I might have a fun video coming up soon there, but I can't say too much about it just yet.
Okay.
On more of a serious tone, recently we've seen AI being used more and more for scams, like the recent MrBeast iPhone 15 giveaway seen all over TikTok. Do you think as the development of AI tech gets better, so will the scams? And how do we prevent this from happening?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we could do absolutely disgusting scams to the point where we can have this entire podcast deep faked, right? And have you say, just cancel worthy stuff, or send videos to your parents, things like that, or to your accountant. Like, these things are happening right now, and the technology is good enough to really trick and fool people. I think, first of all, just spreading the awareness is essential. We need to be aware that this is a thing. So company-wide, I already told everyone, like, listen, if I ever call you or send you a video and ask you to do something like a big wire transfer or anything of that capacity, I would never. Just ask me at the office, right? And these are policies that we simply need. We need to have these type of policies in businesses. We need platforms that, like, watermarks aren't going to fix it. The main reason for watermarks not being able to fix it is because you can create an AI that just surpasses the watermark, right? And it'll just be this, infinite game of catch up. One thing that we could do is have a verification on a person's face. Like, this could probably be like a cybersecurity company which would tackle this, right? Wherever, anywhere on the internet, you find Kwebbelkop's face, right? I or someone from my team would have to approve that I really said that and I really did that. So now all of a sudden you link every clip to a real person's verification. That's like hyper complex and, logistical absolute nightmare. But that would assure that, let's say there's an ad, or you have it at certain intersections, right? So for example, I don't mind, I don't think it could be that devastating if there is a podcast done or a clip generated of me and someone uses it in their video. I don't think that's too big of an issue, right? I can always confront this person afterwards and take legal action if necessary. The issue here, however, is scams. So when I, for example, check out and I see an ad of MrBeast trying to give away an iPhone, I'm just like surprised that ad, first of all, got through. And second of all, no, no one took it down afterwards when it was up. So what can these advertisement platforms do? And this might become the AI ad apocalypse, right? Unless they get there before. Is these platforms could have a verification of every person in the video,
right?
Or at least specific celebrities. So if there is an ad and it detects Mr. Beast's face, all right, it then should ping one of Mr. Beast's like accounts or someone who's managing that and go, hey, did you guys approve of this? And obviously the majority of the time that's a no, right? Or another one could be, and this one is even simpler, hey, we detect Mr. Beast in an ad, roll it back. Is there consent? And in a video where he provides consent in a different setting, holding up a specific form of verification, I would tackle it something like that, right? And you would have to have a few different safety nets, and you have to tackle it in a few different ways. But it's certainly not an impossible task to tackle these challenges.
Do you think maybe another solution would be to use AI to detect whether or not it's an AI video? Is that possible?
No. Yeah, so it's certainly possible, but then they just figure out what it's detecting, and then they patch that. So you get this infinite chase. On top of that, I don't think there's anything wrong with Mr. Beast being deepfaked if he provides consent.
Correct.
Right?
Okay.
Deepfakes often associated with a negative quantitation. So let's say Mr. Beast creates an AI clone, and then he runs an ad with that AI clone. Right now, the system says flags it, right? That should be totally fine. So it's much more of, did the person give consent to be in this video, right? And in all honesty, that should have been in place years ago, right? If it's AI generated or not AI generated, I don't want my face in an ad if I didn't give consent. So it brings us back to that discussion rather than AI generated, yes or no.
You said via Twitter recently that the next creator to pull such levels of innovation will likely be an AI content creator.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think this?
Yeah, I think Mr. Beast has achieved escape velocity to the point where he is so far ahead of everyone because he innovated at the perfect time, and it took people way too long to catch up and figure out that he was, what he was doing. That he is a snowball that is, only going to stop if something, really like world ending would occur. So that's why, like, he can go on forever. And the only next person that's going to do something like him, it's not going to be someone who does the same thing like he does, right? What did it does the same thing that Mr. Beast did when he blew up, and that was innovate in the space and do something that no one else has done, and then continue to innovate.
Right.
And we need more innovators. We need more people who think outside the box and who aren't pigeonholed by whoever's number one, but really take a serious look at the space and say, all right, okay, cool, we get it. There's a Mr. Beast, but there could also be an equivalent force, but that is completely dominating a different niche that isn't challenges mainstream appeal, but still appeals to a very large audience, but in a completely different way. So yeah, need more innovators. And then I think that will be AI, by the way. That the next wave will be an AI powered influencer or AI influencer.
So do you think Mr. Beast or any other massive viral creators will ever adopt it, or do you think it's going to be somebody like a new generation of creators that are using AI that are blowing up?
It'll be a combination, 100%. It gives you this edge, right? And right now we're still in the very experimentation phase, but you're slowly starting to see the symptoms, right? People are going like, hey, I can use this for thumbnail assets, or I can use it to help me write scripts or come up with interesting questions to ask Kwebbelkop, because I just used GPT-4 Bing search and found his latest news articles and said, what are 20 super interesting questions that I could ask him, right? Like something like that. Yeah, and I never
Sounds like
did
sounds like
that.
Isaiah. Sounds like
What do
Isaiah.
you mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that gives you the edge over everyone else. So if you don't use these AI applications, then if people are just going to outperform you. So it kind of we're forced to start using these in a good way, right? Because it will result in better content. Um, and therefore, I think, we'll see the real influencers transition into AI influencers, but it also gives a possibility to kickstart off a new channel and begin with AI right away. AI
Yep.
tools and applications, or fully fledged AI autonomous channels.
In September, you revealed Kwebbelkop AI version 2. This version introduced a hyper realistic looking character, which looked like you. In about a month, your team went from an animated looking character to looking realistic. How did you accomplish this? Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy feat.
Yeah, so how we look at the challenges we're tackling is, we don't care how we tackle them, we just got to tackle them. And often we just try to figure out how can we do this the fastest. So what we did was we reached out to some of the absolute biggest players in the game, and we said, let's collaborate, let's find a way to benefit of this together, and that's what we decided to do. So we found some really good partners to work with, and some more really cool partnerships are yet to come, which I can't talk about. But super exciting stuff.
That's interesting. I mean, because it kind of, so I heard that when we launched the video, I think I saw you say something like you guys made the audio not sync on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. That was to us. We wanted to make sure. I think the best way to phrase is we wanted to make sure that people were aware that this was AI. Right. And this was also one of the reasons that we didn't want to go photorealistic right away. Imagine I would have gone photorealistic right away. No one would have talked about it. People would
Yeah.
just be like, why is he so low on energy?
It's almost like I kind of look at you as like the Steve Jobs of AI, and it's like you went from the original iPhone to the 15 Pro, and people were pissed off about it. You know what I mean? Like I
Oh,
saw some, yeah. Am I
in
wrong?
a way. Yeah. So one of my engineers here always says, um, don't release the perfect product right away, because then we have nothing else to add.
Exactly.
Let's do one step at a time.
Yeah.
And to me, that was such like an interesting lesson. But yeah, no, like people are pissed, sure, but there's a lot of people who see the vision. Those are the ones that I focus on. I'm the first one to attempt this, to try this, and I'll happily pave the way for any other future AI influencers, which I think are
Yep.
going to be millions, if not billions, in the near future.
The thumbnails though, like I've seen you in the Project V server posting, and like they look really, really good. Like they
Oh,
look
thank you.
like something you'd see Mr. Beast using, or Arak. Like they're
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
how is that even possible? I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
They look so realistic. I don't know, and
yeah,
over the
yeah,
top.
yeah. I mean, how is that possible? What do you want to know?
Well, it's like, okay, so I guess one of my biggest questions is, so you're doing the where it's going to make a full video, and then you got the
Mm-hmm.
something that being a creative, when you're, and I'm sure you know this, when you're working on your videos, your content years ago, it's like, you're like, you want to have hands on with every like moment.
Mm-hmm.
um but with this, it's almost like AI is just doing it for you. Um, like, how does that work? Is are you able to like customize certain elements? Like, I know it's like you put a prompt in, but like, what if it does it wrong? Like, are there certain elements you can change after the fact?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so I can once again, we build the tool and we just give it to people, and then we
yeah,
got to figure out how they use it, because we don't know often what we're building, and that's why we have people in the Discord like yourself or others just testing out things and giving us suggestions. But how we've seen people use these tools is they have this idea of a video or a channel. Right, someone might say, "I have this idea and I want to do educational videos on like ancient history." But they don't have the resources to go and manage all of this, or the knowledge to make good content. So they use the tool and they just put some video ideas in there, which either they come up with them themselves, or they brainstorm a bit with GPT-4. They put these ideas in there, and then it does everything, right? A whole video comes out. Now, what can you do now is you can say, well, I want to be a little bit more specific about the tone. So I'll just prompt again. So I'll say, I get my prompt and I say, okay, slightly tweak it in a deep, soothing voice, right? Okay, now it comes out better. Cool. But the visuals are a little bit too much for me. I want to have more supportive visuals of what's being said in the story, and then you can change that in your prompt too. And I think what we're working towards is have this dialogue like Chat GPT, where you can just go back and forth. And I think that's what everything's gonna eventually end up on. Plus, you can just edit it afterwards if you really want to change something. Just edit it.
Wouldn't it be interesting? I know, so right now, ChatGPT actually has a plugin for CapCut. Wouldn't it be kind of interesting, if you guys had an API integration with Premiere Pro, or it builds the video for you so you can edit certain elements? Because sometimes it's just the little tweaks that make a video special,
Exactly. Super interesting for sure. And there are so many interesting use cases we could branch out into. There's a lot of different features that we can build, such as a ChatGPT plugin, or an Adobe Premiere plugin, or our own custom website portal. It's just that there's limited resources and limited time, and we got to figure out what is the absolute number one thing to focus on right now. And for us, I'm also thinking, where are we going to be in 5 years from now? In 5 years from now, you're not going to be using Premiere Pro.
You don't think?
No. I think you'll be just straight up prompting fully fledged videos. This is the vision that we're building right now. So why wouldn't we believe in our vision?
Okay,
it would be us working backwards if we're not doing that. So based on this, we got to figure out what are the steps that we're working towards, and how can we allocate the proper amount of resources. And to me, what does it look like? It is, you ask an AI, and this could be Chat GPT with plugins. We have an API for us to link it. It's not that complicated. But you ask Chat GPT, hey, make me a video on this, and it generates the video for you. And then you can discuss and say, please change this, please change that. And then what I envision is, by then we'll have these goggles on, and I'm really looking forward to looking back in 5 years to these podcasts of me doing the predictions. You got your little sunglasses on, or your Apple Pro Vision, whatever, Vision Pro. And then you say, give me a video about, potato salads. And it generates it for you. And you're like, next. This is my favorite. Okay, generate a new script for it. And then it generates a new script for it. And you see this in a visual interface. And it's all done based on speech and finger movement, things like that. So that's really what we're trying to work towards, that future. And we're trying to build a product that fits there on those glasses, rather than what works now. That's the idea.
Beyond impressive, Jordi.
Thank you. You think it can replace video editors? It'll get to a point where all you got to do to edit the video is just prompt it.
Yeah, and it won't replace them. It will be a new form of storytelling, right? So right now, the goal of storytelling is to share. To create an experience for the person who's experiencing this story, right?
Yep.
And there's so many different ways to do this. You can do storytelling around a campfire with a guitar, right?
Yep.
Then that's the first, probably, maybe not with a guitar back then, but maybe with drums or something. Like, instruments are old. Sure, with an instrument, someone was sitting there at the campfire telling a story. All right. Then when all of a sudden people started writing these stories, there is probably an uproar. Oh no, the campfire stories are going to be, this is it. This is the end of the campfire stories. You're going to replace so many jobs of people telling campfire stories. Did the campfire stories disappear? No.
Nope.
No, I love campfire stories, sure. So they're still there. Yeah. It's just a new form of storytelling is created. Writing a book. Et cetera. All right, there's so much more. Songs, film, analog film, and then digital film. And then social media. And then even in social media, you have these different branches on different social media and different content formats. And now we are entering the era of generative AI, which all of a sudden really elevate our creativity. So now it really becomes possible for you to visualize something in your head, to explain this. And step one is in words, right? Or you type it, right? But you could also transcribe it, sure. To explain what you want to see and then to iterate over that. Whereas the next stage, and this is when shit really hits the fan and becomes super cool, you put it on and it reads your brain waves. So it knows what you want to see. And then it generates that. And then you can generate stories for yourself, or you can really vividly visualize a story to share with your friends. And once again, it's not going to replace campfire stories, but it will create a new form of campfire storytelling. And so yes and no, it will replace editors and thumbnail artists and things like that. Yes,
that makes a lot of sense.
I think it would be really interesting to see this kind of technology like in filmmaking. You know what I mean? Like imagine being able to make like an Avengers Endgame level movie film with just AI.
Gage, this is what we're heading to. 100%. You get it.
Pixar
We're on the same wavelength now.
I know.
Yes.
Let's go, Gage.
You're one of us. One of us. Yes. So we are now, and sure, we, my company and what I'm trying to do is really contribute to this movement. Contribute to, okay, but this is sick. You want to see Avengers Endgame, but your friends are the fucking Avengers? Oh, and then watch it all together? Hell yeah.
That is sick.
Meanwhile, Disney is licensing this and gets a licensing kickback or whatever, right? So they're happy and their lawyers aren't going to call you. But how sick is that? And then you say, surprise me with which friend is going to be Thanos, you know? And all of a sudden Thanos appears. Imagine the reaction from everyone. Here's another thing. If you would see that movie would be so much more engaging.
Because it's you and your friends.
Than any other movie. And it can have inside joke references too.
Yeah.
So
that's so smart.
Storytelling is gonna go next level. And how far are we from achieving that? I would say we're gonna start seeing some really weird shit within 6 to 12 months from now.
Really? Wow. That's soon.
Yep.
Crazy. Wow. You know what? I'm really excited to see where this is in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be on another level.
I think in 10 years we'll have like AI assisted robots in our brain.
Yeah.
That really, boosts our IQ up to like a gazillion. And we're curing diseases left, right, and center and solving world hunger and other really complex issues. I think a lot of people are scared of the AI technology, but I am extremely optimistic about it. Yes, I'm certain, I'm aware of the risks, but so far humanity hasn't been able to extinguish itself, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah,
I think this will work for independent filmmakers too. Like it'll be a lot more affordable than.
Oh, please! You can compete with a $300 million budget movie simply by using generative AI. Right? There was this massive writer strike. I'm pretty sure update wise, they're making really nice progress there. But I think these type of tools will really be able to give a lot of power to these writers and these creators, because all of a sudden they don't need to get expensive camera equipment and use budgets. They can make a movie themselves based on their creativity and their writing skills.
But I think a lot of people are just really pissed off with like Hollywood and the way the studios treat people. So I think the ability to do this more of an independent way, and not needing $300 million to make a huge movie, right? Yeah. And then if streaming becomes more accessible, people can get their content on Netflix. I mean, hell, even YouTube, right? I mean, YouTube is a great place to put that stuff and get discovered. So I think you're on the right track, Jordi. I'm going to be honest.
The clock is ticking for Hollywood. That's for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for believing in the vision here. And I felt like me as an influencer, me as a public figure, it's time to make people aware of this revolution happening right in front of our eyes. We're experiencing the birth of this new era and this new form of storytelling, and that's the whole idea behind Kwebbelkop AI too. so that everyone knows, to educate people and to inform people that this is the start of a new era, right? Where we will look back in 5 years, we will look back in 10 years of, okay, AI influencing, when did it really start? And there will be this pivotal moment where some weird ass curly haired orange guy decided to go crazy on it, and all of a sudden it'll make sense. That's at least what I what I'm betting on, and I hope that it'll that we can contribute to that bigger cause, since this will create I would assume millions and millions and millions of jobs too.
So one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from people about your AI is that YouTube was created to be a platform for everyday people to become creators. AI to some seems like a lazy way to make money. Where do you honestly see AI going on YouTube in the future?
Yeah, so let me roll it back to that first quote. I heard people say, "Yeah, the U in YouTube stands, you know what it stands for. It's you as the creator." And to me, I'm like, you're so blind. Like, I am a creator. Right. I am creating. I am telling this story. I am sharing my vision. And then you're now discrediting my creativity. Like, I spend hours and hours making this and coming up with this creative journey that I want to share with the world. So YouTube is about the creator. It's not about limiting the creator to a specific niche and saying this is the only thing they can create. That does the opposite of creativity. It's about it's a platform for humans to express their storytelling and their creativity. I think that is first of all the number one thing we should remember. And then where do I see it going? I think more and more tools will become accessible to people. We're building a tool. That's fun, but we're not the only one. So many more are building tools. You guys have some great ideas for tools. I heard, Hollywood AI generated movies, great.
Yes.
So more people there's tons of people who have ideas like these, and the beauty here is that it is all slowly going to migrate to open source because the AI systems are going to get better. The open source communities are slowly going to catch up with the big corporations, and AI systems that build software are going to get better and cheaper too. So if you want to build a tool like this in a few years, it will just do it like that, and it builds a tool for you that does this perfectly for you. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to even out the playing fields for everyone and really make it accessible for anyone to create and compete on social media platforms and really create genuinely really solid content. I think the worst content that we're going to be watching is going to be phenomenal in a few years. Simply because there's so much out there and there's so many tools that can help you just make good stuff. Like the thumbnails, for example. A thumbnail tool, it's on our list. We're just testing internally, trying to figure things out. Like what do we want to do? How do we want to do it? If we release that and we can sell it for like $30, yes, we'll put a bunch of thumbnail guys out of business who can still use the tool to upsell it to other people.
Exactly.
Right? That's one new job you create. But it makes it so that everyone all of a sudden has really good thumbnails. All right. No one will ever have shitty thumbnails ever again. And that's just one layer of this massive equation.
I'm sure with your knowledge of CTR and what gets clicks, I'm sure you could kind of create something where it's 100%. They're going to be viral thumbnails.
Right. We built this into the system to optimize for what my vision is on virality in thumbnails. So that the baseline will just be viral on its own. You'd have to really mess up to not get a viral thumbnail.
You're happy with the progress so far then?
Internal, external?
In general, I said,
yes.
the Project V server, I see you're always updating things. You must, like I said, you must be really, really satisfied with where you're headed, and where
100%.
you're at so far.
Yeah, no, the progress is huge anywhere, right? So no one seems to be slowing down. No one has hit major brick walls or major challenges that weren't being able to be tackled. So it really feels like we're at the start of the new internet being created right now. And yeah, there is hype to these applications and things like that, but development isn't slowing down. And to me that shows like, okay, well, we're going to be developing and improving for another, I would say I could see us developing for another 3 to 5 years and not really run into any major issues. And that's us, a small studio compared to a massive corporation.
There's a lot of buzz around AI in general. I know so you have OpenAI, which seems to be the big current solution, but I know
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk announced, I think earlier this year, he was
XAI.
creating XAI.
Yeah.
What is your thought on that? You know, that whole situation, because he founded OpenAI, but he feels like the way it's going isn't the right way.
Yeah, he was one of the founders of OpenAI.
Yeah.
And he was he, you know, like I read up about it a little bit. I don't know the details. Um he's also a businessman at the end of the day, that we should also take into account. And I don't think there one individual is going to outcompete the open source movement. As far as I know, I think it's very likely that eventually everything will become open source,
Yeah.
or at least to a very large extent, which can also be a major challenge, right? Because if everyone has their own AI systems, they can, like, we have our own AI systems running here, and I can remove all filters and do whatever I want, right?
Yep.
And this opens up, like, we have strict policies in the company. You're talking scams. I'm talking like rigging political elections,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
These things are all possible. Teaching people how to build things that they should not be building, or how to
Right.
Mm-hmm.
do things that they shouldn't be doing. That's all possible if everything's open source.
I think what you just brought up is a big concern to a lot of people in general, is the rigging of elections.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, really, how hard would it be to put out a video, like an opponent put out a smear video on their opponent, and it be completely
Easy.
generated by AI?
I'm 100% certain that's going to be happening once we get closer to the elections.
Especially in the States, you're going to have a lot of people, older people, that don't really know the difference.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But don't forget that these things have already been around for quite a while, right?
Oh yeah,
In
True.
different
It's
ways
true.
and subtle ways. It's just that we should definitely be cautious of it this time, because all of a sudden you're going to see, one of the presidential candidates, holding something or running away from something in an image, and you're like, that's no way. Shared with
It,
friends. Before you know it, it's taken off
yeah.
social media, and now it's on the devices itself being shared. There's no way you're going to be able to catch it in time and detect it in time. So the only way to fight this is by education.
yeah.
And I don't think the integration of these AI systems and these AI assistants will be there just yet, before we start seeing this. So, for example, if you had an AI assistant to watch everything you do all day long and you would see a fake picture, the AI system will probably prompt and say, hey, just so you know, this might be a fake image. Make sure you
Mm.
double check.
Do you think there's a chance that there might be like government regulation eventually, like in this whole AI video?
Yeah, of course. We need government regulation. We need rules. We need guidelines. I'm running a company right now, and for
Are you
us,
guys
it's
in
like,
Amsterdam still?
yeah, we're in Amsterdam.
Have you
Uh,
had any, like, as the Amsterdam government, have they? Do you guys have anything with them regarding laws with the European Union and stuff like that?
so far, nothing that is worth mentioning.
Yeah,
And those things are also still in development. Plus, I can't talk too much about it. Um,
I
but
understand.
but what I can talk about is that there are certainly parties who ask my opinion on the situation, and they value my opinion, and aka the company's opinion too, and our rules and policies a lot. Because they're as clueless as everyone else, right?
Yeah.
For me, I think the main thing here is that, like, if you don't provide consent, there needs to be a limit to what we can do with your clone, right? So I should not be able to use you in a collaboration on a video, right? Therefore, I would say that needs consent. However, if I'm doing a documentary about you for educational purposes, I'm all for it. Like, yeah, no, you can use an AI generated clone of me as long as you don't put me, like, if you don't twist it or make me say something that I would never say and things like that.
Jordi's
right?
evil.
Yeah, but the same thing for news. Like, I think using, let's say something occurred in the world, a big tsunami hit a specific location, and there's no video footage of it, or there's very poor video footage. You could use that to then, sometimes people then make it CGI, or enhance, right? You should also be allowed to make AI generated stuff of that. So it's a very complex a challenge right now, and there's a lot of discussions going on what is allowed and what isn't allowed, and this requires a lot of experts to come together, and it requires the opinion of a lot of people and a lot of people voting for what should and shouldn't be allowed. But you also don't want to hinder innovation and growth, right? So that's another thing.
No, but hey, you know what? I think we're all really looking forward to see where this heads in the next year.
I sure am.
And yeah, but I think that's it for today. I mean, Isaiah, you have anything else you want to ask?
Nope.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Jordi, thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking about this, and
it was.
I think you've answered a lot of questions. I think a lot of people really had about this project, and yeah, it looks really promising. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But well, thank you guys all for watching. I've been Gage.
I've been Isaiah.
And I've been Kwebbelkop. Did I do it correctly?
Yes, perfect.
Talk to you later.